All right, let's take a journey through our own cosmic backyard, because it turns out it's way, way stranger than we ever thought. We're going to uncover 4 recent absolutely mind-bending discoveries that are completely changing how we see our neighboring worlds. From impossible flashes of light to the faint crackle of static on a distant planet, our solar system is full of secrets.
So, here's our itinerary for this trip. We're starting with a mysterious green flash on Jupiter, then we're going to listen in on a pretty shocking discovery from Mars. After that, we're heading way out to the outer planets to rethink what an ice giant even is, before we finish up on a tiny moon that might be hiding a massive watery secret. Okay, first stop, the king of the planets, Jupiter. For years, we thought we had a pretty good handle on this gas giant, but recently, scientists saw something that just, well, it shouldn't have been there. So, what's the big mystery? It's this, a strange, super bright green flash of light caught on camera by a NASA spacecraft. It popped up near Jupiter's North Pole and was moving so fast it was almost missed entirely. So, what in the world could it be?
This incredible snapshot comes to us from the Juno spacecraft. It's been orbiting Jupiter since 2016, just soaking up data. Then, back in 2020, its camera, the Juno Cam, caught this fleeting moment that's had scientists scratching their heads ever since. You know, the object was moving at such a breakneck speed, it's a wonder they even saw it at all.
After digging through all the data, the leading theory is lightning. But hold on, this is not the kind of lightning you see during a summer storm here on Earth. No, this is something way more exotic. And this is where it gets really interesting. See, on Earth, our lightning forms in good old water clouds. Simple enough. But on Jupiter, the storms are raging inside these absolutely colossal clouds made of a mix of ammonia and water. And it's that unique chemical cocktail that can create lightning in really bizarre colors, including that strange green that Juno spotted. Okay, staying on this theme of unexpected electrical stuff, our next stop takes us from a gas giant to our rocky neighbor, Mars. And here, a totally different kind of atmospheric mystery was just solved. Now, this discovery didn't start with a sight, but with a sound. Back in 2021, a dust devil was rolling over the Perseverance rover, and its microphone recorded something really weird. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't sand, it was this faint but very distinct popping sound. And get this, it wasn't just a one-time thing. Over 2 years, the rover's SuperCam microphone picked up 55 of these short, sharp bursts. They were hidden in hours of audio, each one a tiny little clue to something much, much bigger. Researchers are now pretty sure that that sound was the crackle of tiny electrical sparks in Mars's thin atmosphere. You know, think of it like the little static shock you get when you touch a doorknob. It's not a giant lightning bolt, but technically it is lightning. And that officially makes Mars the 3rd planet, right after Earth and Jupiter, where we've actually confirmed it exists. How cool is that? So, how does a cold, dry planet like Mars even generate lightning? Well, it all comes down to a process you've definitely experienced, even if you don't know its very long scientific name: triboelectrification. The idea behind this mouthful of a word is actually surprisingly simple. And here's basically how it works. Okay, so picture this. Strong Martian winds whip up all this dust. The tiny little grains start rubbing up against each other. Just like when you rub a balloon on your hair, that friction builds up static electricity. And once enough charge builds up, pop! It releases as a tiny spark, making the sound that Perseverance heard. So you might be thinking, okay, tiny sparks, who cares? Well, there turns out they have some huge implications. For one, this electrical activity could create chemicals that actually destroy organic matter, which might explain why finding signs of ancient life is so darn hard. It could also be the key to understanding how Mars's gigantic planet-covering dust storms get started. And yeah, for future astronauts, it's a serious hazard you've got to protect against. All right, let's journey even farther out now, to the cold, distant edges of our solar system. Because out here, it's not just one little discovery. Our entire understanding of 2 whole planets, Uranus and Neptune, is being challenged. For as long as we've studied them, we've called them the ice giants. We've pictured them as these huge balls of ice with a little rocky core. But what if we've had it wrong all along? New computer simulations are suggesting another possibility, that they might actually be rock giants in disguise, with way more rock on the inside and just a thin layer of ice on top. Now, the reason for this massive uncertainty is pretty simple. We just don't have a lot of data. Our only close-up info comes from one single spacecraft, Voyager 2,
and that was from brief flybys decades ago. It gave us a quick snapshot, but no spacecraft has ever gone back to actually orbit and study them in detail. And because that data is so limited, scientists can build computer models for an ice-heavy planet and for a rock-heavy planet. And guess what? Both models totally fit the little information we actually have. It just highlights this huge gap in our knowledge and really shows why we desperately need new missions to go out there and solve this mystery. For our final stop, we're staying put in the Uranian system, but we're going to zoom in on one of its moons. It's a tiny little world called Ariel, and it might just be hiding a very, very big secret from its past.
So the first clues came from those very same Voyager 2 images from way back when. Instead of looking like an old, dead, cratered chunk of ice, Ariel's surface looked surprisingly young and active. It was covered in cracks and ridges and what looked like signs of cryovolcanoes. That's ice volcanoes. These are features we see on moons like Europa, which we know have oceans under the surface.
But wait, there's more. Later on, analysis found traces of ammonia and carbon-based compounds right there on Ariel's surface. Now, these chemicals are really fragile. Radiation in space should have destroyed them ages ago. The fact that they're still there strongly suggests that something, most likely liquid water from below, has been seeping up and replenishing them.
So you put all this evidence together. You've got the active-looking surface, you've got the chemical fingerprints, and it all points to one incredible conclusion. Scientists now believe that Ariel, as small as it is, may have once had a huge ocean of liquid water hiding beneath its icy crust.
And this is what that might have looked like. We're not talking about a small underground lake here. The model suggests this hidden ocean could have been absolutely enormous, making up more than half of the moon's entire volume. Just imagine that, sandwiched between a rocky core and a pretty thin crust of ice.
You know, from lightning on Jupiter and Mars to giant planets that might not be what they seem and hidden oceans where we least expect them. All these discoveries just go to show that our solar system is a far more active, dynamic, and mysterious place than we ever gave it credit for. It really makes you wonder, what other incredible secrets are just out there waiting for us to find them?